What if the Iron Revenant himself, twice slain and thrice born, tore a hole into a universe where a single Viltrumite can level a city block barehanded? Imagine this. Somewhere in the Shadow Isles, Mordekaiser's necromantic ritual goes wrong in the most interesting way possible. The ancient warlord isn't summoning a soul this time. He's ripping open a seam between realities. And on the other side of that seam is a world that has never once had to deal with something that already considers death an inconvenience rather than an ending. Mordekaiser steps through first because Mordekaiser always steps through first. 7 feet of animated black iron, no face beneath the horned helm, just 2 spectral teal eyes burning in the dark where a skull should be. He doesn't stumble like a man discovering a new world. He simply stands, mace resting against his shoulder, and studies the skyline of a city that isn't his, the way a general studies a map he intends to redraw. Whatever this world is, it will learn his name. It doesn't take him long to find trouble, mostly because trouble finds him. A government research outpost on the edge of the city picks up an energy signature that shouldn't exist, and it doesn't take long for word to travel up the chain to the one Viltrumite in the sector mean enough and bored enough to investigate personally. Conquest doesn't do subtlety. He arrives the way he always arrives, dropping out of the sky hard enough to crater the street, golden prosthetic arm catching the light where flesh used to be, one blind eye behind a face that never fully healed right from the last war he started. Conquest doesn't ask questions first. Conquest has never asked questions first in his life. He sizes up the towering iron figure for exactly 1 second, decides it's a threat worth ending quickly, and closes the distance faster than sound. The first punch he throws would have ended a lesser war on its own. Viltrumite strength behind a blow meant to cave in a chest that isn't flesh at all. Mordekaiser doesn't dodge. He doesn't need to. The mace comes up to meet the fist, and for the first time in a very long time, Conquest feels something push back. The sound alone cracks windows 6 blocks out. Mordekaiser staggers half a step, iron groaning under the impact, and Conquest's own arm rings from the collision like he'd hit a mountain instead of a man. Neither of them says a word yet. They don't need to. This is the part of the fight where both sides are still doing the math, and the math on both ends is coming back wrong in the most exciting way. Conquest presses the advantage the only way a Viltrumite knows how. Overwhelming force, relentless pace, blow after blow aimed at breaking something before it has time to adapt. He's fought stronger men than this one before, and every one of them eventually cracked under the weight of a punch that doesn't stop coming. Mordekaiser takes 3 of them in a row without so much as a backward step. And that is the exact moment Conquest realizes this fight is not what he thought it was going to be. Because Mordekaiser has a trick that no Viltrumite has ever had to plan around. Every hit that lands against him doesn't just cost him nothing. It feeds him. His iron drinks in a fraction of the force behind every blow, storing it, building toward a shield of stolen momentum that grows heavier with every second Conquest keeps swinging. The harder Conquest hits, the more dangerous the thing hitting him back becomes, and Conquest, for the first time in longer than he can remember, starts pulling his punches to figure out what he's actually dealing with. That hesitation costs him. Mordekaiser's mace comes around in a wide arc, catching Conquest across the ribs hard enough to send him skidding through a parking structure, concrete raining down around him as 3 support pillars give out at once. He climbs out of the wreckage furious rather than afraid, because Viltrumites don't feel fear so much as insult, and this thing has just insulted him in a language he doesn't yet have the vocabulary to answer. The fight that follows tears apart 4 blocks in less than 2 minutes. Conquest goes for speed now instead of raw power, trying to find an angle Mordekaiser can't simply eat and store, striking from behind, from above, from directions that shouldn't be possible at the velocities he's moving. It almost works. He gets in close enough to land a flurry that would have ended most things twice over, golden fist driving into iron ribs, cracking plating that has not cracked in longer than most civilizations have existed. Mordekaiser answers the only way he knows how. His claw of shadow lashes out, closing around Conquest mid-strike and yanking him bodily off balance, dragging him into range of a mace swing that connects with the full weight of a warlord who has broken worse things than Viltrumites across several lifetimes. Conquest goes down. Not soft, not gentle. Through the street and into the subway tunnel beneath it, dust and screeching metal, and a silence that lasts just a little too long before he starts moving again. He gets back up angrier than he's ever been in his very long life, and this time he stops holding anything back. What follows isn't a fight anymore, so much as two forces of nature refusing to acknowledge the concept of losing. Conquest breaks through Mordekaiser's stored shield with pure accumulated violence, cracking iron plating wide enough to see the shifting shadow beneath it, something that was never quite flesh to begin with. Mordekaiser answers by opening a wound of his own, driving the mace clean through Conquest's guard and into his chest with enough force to finally actually put him down. For one long moment, the street goes quiet. Conquest doesn't get up. Word spreads through emergency channels that the deadliest Viltrumite outside of Thragg himself has just been dropped in the street by something that isn't from this planet, this galaxy, or apparently this reality. And Mordekaiser, mace still humming with stolen force, turns his attention toward the wreckage and finds something he did not expect to find here. A worthy kill. A worthy addition to the realm of death. He doesn't get the chance to enjoy it. Because down in the tunnel, in the dark, in the silence after the fight that should have ended things, something in Conquest that has survived worse than this refuses the verdict. His body was built by an empire that conquered a galaxy on the promise that Viltrumites do not simply stay down, and buried under broken concrete with his own blood cooling around him. Conquest's eyes open one more time. Mordekaiser turns back just in time to see it happen, and for the first time since he stepped through the tier between worlds, something that isn't quite surprise flickers behind those spectral teal eyes. Because he understands exactly what he's looking at. He has done this exact thing himself twice, in 2 different centuries, on 2 different battlefields where better men were certain he was finished for good. Conquest rises out of the wreckage in a way that shouldn't be possible for anything with a pulse, chest wound cauterizing itself from raw, stubborn will as much as biology. Golden arm sparking where the plating cracked, and the words that come out of him are not a threat so much as a fact stated plainly to an enemy who, of everyone in either universe, might actually understand it. I don't die, I refuse to. And the two of them come together one final time, an ancient, undying warlord and a Viltrumite who has decided that losing simply isn't an option available to him tonight, colliding in the middle of a ruined street under a sky neither of them was born beneath. Would the deadliest Viltrumite in the galaxy finally meet something that can out-survive him? Or has Mordekaiser just found the first opponent stubborn enough to make an eternity of the fight? Let me know your take below.